Hi friends, sorry for the delay. For those that live along the Wasatch Front from Ogden to Provo, we had a 5.7 earthquake this morning and some aftershocks, and it has thrown my morning off, so I apologize for the delay. But if you're joining me here on Women of Worth Live, please chime in. Let us know if you live in Utah, if everything's okay. Where the Angel Moroni trumpet fell off the Salt Lake Temple, and there was some damage at the airport, and they've closed the airport. So on a normal day, that would be the big news. But because we're all living through this faith-promoting experience called coronavirus, I think it is meshed in there with everything else that's happening. For those of you that joined me on Sunday for the message I shared and I wore these earrings, it created quite an uproar. Many of you loved them. Some of you hated them and made sure you let me know how much you hated them. So I think that's kind of interesting, the hate, because we're a faith-promoting page. But, you know, everybody's got opinions. I wore them again today because my son, who's 22, and those that have been loyal followers of Women of Worth or heard me speak in other capacities know him and know his personality a little bit. He said they look like the actual coronavirus. So if you've seen all the animation about the virus, he said these earrings remind him of that. So I'm wearing them in honor of my message today. And you know what? I think with all the stress, we've got to laugh, right? We've got to laugh sometimes. It's been intense today. Thank you for asking. I'm going to be honest with you. I've gotten really curious. And what I wanted to share today is I've tried to stay curious and not in judgment about how I'm responding to the stress, how I'm responding to the changes in our normal life. Specifically, you know, like my daughter has started online schooling today, and that was part of my delay because she needed some feedback on that. All the moms and dads that are doing homeschooling right now know what that means. And I didn't sleep well last night. And I bring this up only because those of you that know me and know my story, I felt my sister Meg near me. And for some reason, I feel her by me a lot when I speak and just in my normal life. But it woke me up and I started to cry. And I couldn't stop crying and I couldn't settle down, and all night something felt off. And then this morning I could have slept in because I didn't sleep well. Instead, I got up and got moving, and we have an old washing machine that really shakes a lot. And so I'd started a load of laundry because we've been doing a lot of laundry and a lot of hand washing. And then the earthquake happened, and I thought at first the doors were shaking, everything was shaking, and our laundry room's upstairs. I thought it was the washing machine going crazy. It was an earthquake. And it was curious for me to reflect back. And I'm going to invite you to reflect back on the last few months. Small little insights or inklings or feelings. The Spirit talks to us in a language we are familiar with. The Book of Mormon talks about that. That we're going to recognize the Spirit because it's going to sound oftentimes so familiar we may think it's us. And so I look back on even just last night and I could feel something was off and I wasn't settled. And so I share that before I share the rest of this message because I'd invite you to get curious. Laughing is a really good tool for stress and crisis, but so is getting curious and more observing yourself and not going into judgment. Okay, so from the title of this message, you may be curious. Do not message me hate about calling things Mormon. I 110% sustain the prophet. I love that he has invited us boldly to call ourselves members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I am 100% behind that, and I have been from the moment one he invited us to do that. But if you'll recall from consequence of the conversation after that to calling certain things and changing names. So websites been changed, things like that. But historical places have remained called with the title Mormon. So Mormon Trail, for example, and Mormon crickets, because it's a historical term. So please don't be triggered that I believe in calling ourselves by the correct name, but I'm referencing the pioneers. And after they came to the Utah Valley and they had set up for that first experience here of planting their crops and establishing their homes and all those things. And I often joke that when we're going through really stressful things, I often say I would have been the pioneer that did great all the way across the plains. And then the minute I got to the Utah Valley, realizing that I had to build a house and plant crops, and I probably would have collapsed and started to murmur. So that's the time period I'm talking about. And if you're not familiar with this story and you're new to this page, or you're new to the church, or you whatever, the crops were planted, and then the saints here in this valley were infested with crickets, and they were eating the crops. And they prayed and prayed for a miracle. And the miracle came when the seagulls came, and the seagulls started to eat up these crickets. And if you come to Salt Lake City, you'll see seagulls across the, is it Main Street or State? I think it's State, that had the seagulls across the top. And that is in commemoration, that monument of that miracle. Well, a few years ago, and you have maybe heard me share this story. I've shared it at a few events if you've heard me speak live. I was relayed a story from a mission president who was serving in a mission in Asia. And it was Pioneer Day. And if you live in the United States and you're a member of the church, Pioneer Day, especially in Utah, it's a holiday. We have parades, we all dress up, there's reenactments, we have barbecues. It's a big deal, July 24th. And so this mission president was addressing saints in an Asian mission, a mission in Asia. And he was telling the story of the miracle of the crickets and the seagulls. And he was feeling like it was a really faith-promoting story. He was just like, and then the pioneers prayed, and God sent these seagulls, and all of the crickets were eaten, and the crops were saved. And as he's telling this story, and as a speaker, I have had this happen before, where I feel like something is burning in my heart, and it's just such a faith-promoting experience or story that I'm trying to relay, and I'm telling it, and the audience or congregation is literally like not responding. And not only did this mission president say they weren't responding the way he thought, they were responding with shock and horror. And he was like, what am I saying wrong? Like, there's maybe a language barrier. Am I not communicating this correctly? Like, he could see the reaction on their faces. And he was like, wait, this is such a great faith promoting story. And he finished his message, and he sat down uncomfortable, turned to one of his counselors and was like, what did I do wrong? He's like, his counselor said, President, they don't understand. They don't understand what you're saying. And he's like, well, that's obvious. I'm telling them this great story. And, the crickets and the seagulls. And he's like, yeah, but President, they don't understand. And so for many of you that live in countries where crickets are not seen as a plague, you will understand already what I'm about to tell you. You may not understand what I'm about to tell you because you may be living in an area of the world where crickets are a pest, and you try to get rid of them because they eat your tomatoes and they eat your garden and they eat your crops. But for many people around the world, and High Five Live is a global community, crickets are a delicacy. They are not a pest. They are on a food truck. You can walk down the street in many countries around the world and you can eat certain insects. They are a source of protein. So these amazing saints are looking at this mission president, and they're confused. They don't understand why the pioneers would pray away a miracle. They don't understand because for them, crickets are food. And they're a great source of food. My son served, that same son that thinks these are coronavirus earrings, he served in Zimbabwe, Africa, and they eat termites. And they roast them. And so I love this story because for these saints, they were seeing the story so different. They were seeing that the pioneers were tired and it was their first winter and they were hungry and starving, and God had literally rained down upon them protein, food, sustenance. And the pioneers who did not, include crickets as part of their menu or their diet didn't see it that way. They saw it as adversity. They prayed their miracle away. Now, obviously, isn't this a great story? Because God gets what we live with. He gets our culture. He gets our communities. He gets he gets what makes us comfortable. He gets what we're used to, right? He gets us. He works with us. I'm reading right now, if you are with Come Follow Me this week, the parable of the vineyard. And so the olive tree in the vineyard and the master of the vineyard is like meeting the plants that are dying right where they're at, and he sees their roots are good, and he dungs them and prunes them and replants and grafts new people into their lives so that he can bring the vineyard back, the olive orchard back. And he meets us right where we're at. But these saints were like, why did the pioneers pray away their miracle? Their miracle were the crickets. I love this story because from the moment I was told and relayed this story, it has changed me. When I find myself in stress, when I find myself in trauma, when I find myself feeling like our family is experiencing something, or my health has taken a turn, or our finances, or whatever it is, even with my children, even with the coronavirus, I have stopped to think about the miracle of the crickets. And instead of praying for the seagulls to take away our gift, is there an opportunity that we all have right now as a global community? Now, there are some countries in the world that are not understanding what this coronavirus is about. If you're tuning in from one of those countries where the virus has not hit you yet, you may not understand. I'd invite you to go to Twitter or whatever news outlet you've got, and maybe you haven't heard what's going on. But many people in Italy and in China and in America and in other countries are experiencing lockdown and sheltering in place and widespread sickness and even virus. Schools are shut down in our area. Businesses are shut down. People are running to the stores and buying toilet paper and water and all of these resources that many of us as members of the church have been able to store, or if we were not able to, we were advised to put money away for a time like this emergency. And it's easy to go into panic. I just snapped at my daughter because she started online school and she wanted to do something else, and I could tell my stress was high. The earthquake kind of put me a little bit over today. And so one of the things we talked about in our Sunday meeting, if you know, all of church is canceled and the temples are closed, that we are trying to see faith in our family right now. We have a poster that we've stuck up on the wall with sticky notes, and when we see faith, we're writing it down and adding to that. And so I'm going to invite you to look at this virus or an earthquake or whatever pestilence and plagues, because we know they have been prophesied and they will come continually. Rumors of wars and the stress that is coming, to see the faith, to see the miracles in what we might call a plague. Now, I'm not saying that the stress isn't real. I'm not saying the risk isn't real. I'm not saying we should joke this all off. Please understand what I'm saying. I'm saying, like Corrie ten Boom, who in the hiding place shares this beautiful story of praising God for the fleas in the concentration camp. And it wasn't till later she realized the fleas were keeping the guards out of their barracks. And that allowed them to hide their Bible and read scripture. She didn't know why she was praising God for fleas. They were annoying. They were uncomfortable. I'm not saying it's not annoying and uncomfortable to have no money coming in because you can't work, to be stuck at home, to be maybe low on supplies, to be stressed. I'm not saying that. I'm going to invite all of us collectively to realize we are having a faith-promoting experience. And wouldn't it be wonderful if you would post in comments where you're seeing the crickets as a gift of food in your life? I.e., where is the coronavirus becoming a blessing in your family, in your own individual lives? Where are you getting curious and seeing where the Spirit has been talking to you the last few months, and you did one little thing to prepare? That's the gift of the virus, right? Are your families like our family, having more time together? Here's one example. My daughter was in a really bad car accident a few weeks ago. It was very stressful. Okay? This is a little thing. But it was not, because the car accident was not a little thing. She's okay, but it was very emotional, and the car is wrecked, and it's sitting in front of our house right now. And for about a week or two, it was really not comfortable to not have her have a car, right? It changed our schedules. It was really frustrating. It was irritating. It was a trigger. It was a spiritual trigger. And now we were just realizing what a gift it is, because she doesn't need the car right now because she's stuck at home. I'm sitting in my car right now because I don't want the dog, and my husband, who went to work today, he works in healthcare. And so he has been working 18-hour days and not been working from home because he has doctors to take care of. Well, he was sent home the minute he got to work because the earthquake really did some damage on his building. So he's home, the dog's home, my daughter's home. So I got in the car to share this message because I didn't want to be interrupted. Anyways, my point is, that's one little way. Could you start posting again? Right here in comments, or share this message on your Facebook pages and invite your friends and family to post where they're seeing the miracles, the tender mercies. Is it that someone dropped off toilet paper for you? Is it that you needed family time? For me, my calendar completely opened up. I had 20 speaking events scheduled to present out for the next couple weeks, all canceled. Now, that I love speaking. It's part of my mission, and I was sad. Some of them I'm going to do online, but most of them virtually are gone off my calendar, and I've rescheduled for later in the year. But what I've seen from that is that it is allowing another prayer of mine to be answered, which is I've wanted some more time with my daughter and my family, because she's older now and she's busier and gone more, and I was feeling like we needed some time. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't always felt excited about all the time together we have as a family. I'm not going to lie to you about that, because I haven't been Pollyanna and Faith all the time. I'm just saying the crickets may be hamburgers. The crickets may be protein bars. The crickets may be, if you're a vegetarian, maybe you're not loving this story. But instead of praying away this, now I believe in prayer. I believe we should ask for this miracle to happen as a family, as a global family, that we want people to be healthy and strong. We want to be saved from sickness and death. I'm not saying we shouldn't offer up prayer for blessings and miracles to happen around this virus. I know we're all going to feel the economic impact for a long time, long after this virus passes. But I'm going to invite us all to be students of this mortal experience that we are having together. Where can the coronavirus be a cricket? Where is it providing a miracle? And instead of praying all of this away, pray to have our spiritual eyes open. Pray to have our spiritual ears open. And pray to have our hearts open, to be taught, to be woken up, to be curious, to increase in faith, to be patient with each other, to not take things for granted. If you're seeing any of those miracles, would you post them here? Because I believe that when we focus on faith, we see faith. What we focus on, we see that. I think Laman and Lemuel taught us that. They saw the scarcity, they saw the fear, so they kept seeing more of it. Nephi and Sam tended to focus on the faith. They were having the same hard experiences, and the more they looked for it, the more they saw it. And so I know that you can teach all of us as a community here. And I love that already we're seeing the value of Come Follow Me and home-centered, church-supported instruction that we got ready a year ago before. Now we're doing it. I love that we have technology, that we can go online and do family history and do indexing, even though we can't go to the temple right now. I love that we have opportunities to have family time, to be aware of God and His voice in our lives. I love that we're having more views on Women of Worth in the middle of the day because you're all home from work, and usually we don't get the same numbers of live views because you're all at work. And so I'm gonna rejoice in that. I'm going to rejoice that we get to connect this way. And I'm sending prayers to you wherever you're at, whether you have lived through an earthquake like our family has today, whether you're in an area of the world where you're really seeing widespread effects of the virus, or whether or not you're dealing with some other things, some other crickets in your life. I invite you to see God in that. And to see that maybe He's providing that cancer diagnosis, that divorce, that addiction, for a different reason, a higher purpose. He has orchestrated all of our plans of happiness. The curriculum is perfect for us to become like Him and come back to Him. And that is my testimony today. And I hope you feel of my love. I love you. I'm so grateful for this community. And I hope that my coronavirus earrings have made you smile. And if you hate them, I'm sending you love. You can hate them all you want. I love them. They're making me happy, and we need happy today. I'm excited for conference. I'm excited to be taught by prophets and apostles and church leaders that are being prepared to teach us what we're ready for. And our hearts are open. Man, oh man, God is waking us all up, right? We're all waking up, and that's a good thing. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for inviting others to join this page. This community is going to be here through thick and thin as long as the technology holds up. And hello from Germany. I have to just say something to Germany fan that just posted. My sister Meg that died by suicide 6 years ago was born in Nuremberg. And the first language I learned to speak was German as a little girl. And when we came back to the States, I lost it. But I love seeing Germany pipe in here because Germany has a special place in my heart and in our family. And so love to Germany. Love to all of you. Love to Africa, Sweden. I see all of you joining in here. And if you're not watching live and you're watching this on replay on YouTube, sending love to you too. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Sri Lanka. Oh, what a great community this is. So let's join in faith and prayers that we will see this opposition with Christ-like spiritual eyes. And I know He can work mighty, mighty miracles. And I'm glad you're loving my earrings. Hello from Arizona and Amy. Thanks for loving on my earrings. They're hilarious. I ordered them not realizing they were this ginormous. I thought they were half the size. And so when I got them, I was like, woo! Those are some earrings. But they're making me happy today. So keep the commandments. That's what my necklace says. Thanks, Sweet Salt, for keeping the commandments. And we will see power come into our lives when we are obedient. I know that for sure. Okay, this has gone on way longer. I'm signing off. I love y'all. I'm happy because I'm with you. I got to go back in my house and, be the mom and the wife and get the dog to eat. So I love y'all. And thanks for joining.